Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out today. I am extremely excited about crowdfunding, hence the name Crowdfunding Lawyers. I think it's just an amazing time that we live in. From 1933 until very, very recently, private investments were mostly restricted to the top 3% of the population in the United States. In other words, it was really only available to accredited investors, those who make $200,000 a year as individuals, $300,000 a year as married couples, or have net worths of a minimum of $1 million, and thanks to Dodd-Frank, exclusive of primary residence. So in today's terms, what that translates to, 3% of the population in the United States is about 9 million people out of the 300 million people here. It is a private club only available to the wealthy. And to me, that's patently un-American. Really, honestly, the founding fathers, I could go on and on and on about politics, socialism, communism, democracy, whatever you want to talk about today. And it comes down to this: the American dream always has been, if you work hard for it, you can get it. Well, except when it came to private investments. So the Jobs Act really went to change that. And now we're seeing that more than just 1% of the population is going to be able to take 95% of the wealth. So since 2009, what we saw was 95% of the wealth went to 1% of the population, or in other terms, 95% of the increase in wealth went to 1% of the population. And that is all changed now with the Jobs Act. In 2011, statistics show $4.7 trillion was held in IRAs, of which only 2% of that, but still $94 billion, is in self-directed IRAs. And only 3% of that is held in alternative investments. So what does this mean? It means there's a ton of money out there available for crowdfunding platforms and issuers. With the advent of Regulation A and Regulation CF, investors now have the opportunity to get involved with the next Fundrise REIT or private lending opportunity. For those of you eschewing Regulation A or Regulation CF for the more popular 506C, and I will get to 506C, but let's look at what Regulation A and Regulation CF do for us and what they accomplish. I live in an area not too far from here called Temecula. How many of you know where Temecula is? Okay, very good. So I hope you know where it is, John. So it would be considered an upper middle income area. 35% of the population in Temecula has a net worth of $100,000. So what's this mean for Regulation A? Well, under Regulation A, those who are unaccredited cannot invest more than 10% of their net worth. But if Temecula, with 35% of the population having a net worth of at least $100,000, that means they each could at least invest $10,000 into your deal. That's nothing to shake your head at. $10,000 when I was in college could buy you a very nice car. You guys can all guess when I went to college. I'm not going to tell you when. Come on now, I'm a lady. However, there are many myths surrounding crowdfunding. Richard Swart is going to come up here, and he's going to talk, and he's going to give you some astounding crowdfunding statistics on what really citizens know about crowdfunding, which actually isn't much. If I had a couple $100 for every time somebody asked me if what I do has to do with GoFundMe, well, I could finance a lot of GoFundMe campaigns. But I digress, as I commonly refer to GoFundMe as internet begging. That's not what we're really here to talk about. We're here about increasing wealth, new inventions, new ideas, bringing the ball forward for all of America. And really, actually, all the world. I get calls all the time from foreign countries or foreign issuers who want to raise money here on new crowdfunding platforms in America or start a crowdfunding platform in Europe or Asia. So, knowing this, we all have a responsibility as the industry leaders, and a lot of you here, whether you're an issuer or a platform or a service provider or an industry leader, have a responsibility to educate the public on what crowdfunding truly is. Aristotle said, "The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet." And if we as the industry review education as a tool for collective marketing, as opposed to educating the competition, we will all benefit from the fruit. So I want to encourage everybody out there to share what you know about crowdfunding with whomever will listen to you. I do it all the time. Some people call it annoying. I call it inspirational. So I ask all you service providers, issuers, and platforms to not view each other as competition, but as allies in a new world. Seth Godin has noted that not competition creates a problem, but that it takes away the requirement to set your own path, to set your own method, and to find a new way. You may have had Mexican food last night. Well, last night was Wednesday. So maybe on Tuesday you had Mexican Taco Tuesday. But you're not necessarily going to have Mexican tonight or tomorrow night or even next week. You might have pizza or Indian or some other type of food. The point being is that similar to our palates, our investment portfolios need diversity. Besides, do you as an issuer or a platform really want to be the sole responsible party for someone's financial success? You don't. The law doesn't even allow you to be, so don't. So when you're out there afraid that sharing secrets is going to educate your competition, do not be fearful of that, because it won't. It's really going to lift that tide that's going to lift all the boats. And so although I encourage you to welcome and encourage your competition, I also ask you to hold each other accountable because, as my 5-year-old always reminds me, Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. And so right now, in doing a lot of Regulation A offerings, I am seeing the SEC be very forgiving, if you will. I'm getting very few comments in the process of getting Regulation A's through. Now, I don't know why this is. I think part of it has to do with the fear the SEC has of not allowing Reg A's to go through and not adhering to the law and not being kind to the law and after it took so long to get through. But I also had this experience back in pre-2008. In 2007, I could get a public offering through in maybe 30 to 60 days. No comments at all from the SEC. It was a glorious time in my life, right? Because I didn't have to work very hard. Well, with Bernie Madoff, that all changed. I went from 0 comments to 45 comments, and in one particular film offering I did, I got 99 comments. Because what was the SEC doing? Job loss mitigation. A lot of people had been defrauded out of a lot of money, and now the SEC had to be the watchdog that they were supposed to be. I'm asking all of you for my sanity, and not only that, but for the investors, and especially for the investors, and investors' faith, and to keep integrity in the business is to keep everybody else in this room accountable. We all have to keep each other accountable. If you see somebody doing something wrong, tell them that's wrong. It's not right. And I'm not encouraging you all to be whistleblowers. That is not what I'm telling you. But let's all have a standard in the industry where we do it, we take people's money with integrity, we tell them the truth, we disclose all the material facts. We basically follow the law. Because there is going to come a time when somebody or something or some platform is going to do wrong. And we're all going to suffer for it. So let's mitigate our losses before they happen. Because at this point, the great thing about Rule 506C is that there's no more of the SEC running after people with general solicitation or things that might be on the line. I remember several years ago, I got a letter from the state of Kansas accusing my clients not of general solicitation, but of conditioning the market. In other words, you're not quite generally soliciting, but we think you might generally solicit, so we're sending you angry letters about that. All of that is going to go away. So what are regulators going to do? They're going to have to turn their sights to something else. Don't make that site be the industry. Don't make that site be you. So with that, we have amazing, I can't even believe the lineup for iGlobal today. There's some amazing people with some amazing experience talking today. And so I encourage you to learn, I encourage you to share, educate, and for most part, be accountable. Thank you.